Hi, everyone. It was double ry.in, not ry.in. But so we're going to talk today about philanthropy. And I'm going to really show you the new world of philanthropy that is emerging, which is why I call it Philanthropy 2.0. When you hear the word philanthropy, you think of the rich and the resourceful. You think when I'm going to have a lot of money, then I'm going to do some volunteering, give some money to charities and this and that. So let's look at some of the words that we associate with when we think about philanthropy. We think of the United Nations. We think of the United States of America, the most rich and resourceful country. We, of course, think of Bill Gates, because he has all the money to give to various charities and various causes all around him. And there are a lot of bleeding causes that we associate philanthropy with. Anything else apart from that is not philanthropy. You give money to education, environment, health, developing nations, poverty. A lot of foundations want to give money, and religion. The biggest part in India for philanthropy, according to a Bain report. But in today's day and age, everyone can do philanthropy. And that's why it's called Philanthropy 2.0, the crowd. The power has gone to people to choose anything they want to give money to. And it could be any money. You don't have to wait till you become a billionaire to pledge millions of dollars for something that irritated you 10 years back. Starting 2000 till 2012, a lot of people wanted to help a lot of other people. I saw someone who was trying to feed the dogs in the neighborhood. You would see someone volunteering their time in educating people, educating underprivileged kids. So we thought, how can people give money to people directly without going through this entire grants and chasing that one person who will give you 5 lakhs but in return will take your soul, that kind of stuff? Why can't I just ask you that I am doing this really cool thing, you want to be a part of this, give me 5 rupees. Chalo, everybody give 5 rupees. That's it. This is basically what was crowdfunding, which was thought of in the early 2000s with a lot of companies that started. Mid 2009 or 2008 onwards, a group of companies in the US thought that let's take charity out of the bleeding causes. The causes that we just saw. Why can't a filmmaker go online and say, I'm making a film on some really interesting topic and I just need 5 lakhs. Can 500 of you give me $1,000? That can also be philanthropy. It doesn't have to necessarily tend to something that is more serious. He needs help. Also, at the same time, he's being very accountable because he's on a website. He's telling you how much exactly he wants. He's telling you when will the movie come out, right? So your gratification is quicker. You see a movie coming out, or you see a music album, or you see someone wanting to do a restaurant coming out in 6 months to a year. You will feel good because you were a part of it, right? So that also started in the US with companies like Kickstarter and Indiegogo, and now in India with Wishberryin, where we thought, let's cater to the space which is just not being heard by anybody, which is the creative space, which is the filmmakers, which is the musicians, which is people who want to write books, people who want to do comics, people who want to make games, people who want to just do any sort of art installation outside, right? And where do these people go? They have absolutely no way to find money because they are not dealing with the bleeding cause. So crowdfunding, this entire notion of going after a lot of people and asking for small monies came into the picture in the recent times. And it means nothing. It just means going to a lot of people and asking for small amount of money rather than chasing that one person to give you 5 lakhs, 10 lakhs for the small projects that you have to do, right? What it also does is that when you are right now in college, you're thinking of making a film or making some sort of an interesting gadget, say a solar-powered mobile charger. You don't have to kill that dream right now. You don't have to get into a college and then think of a job and then after that accumulate a lot of wealth and then do what you want to do. You have an idea right now, you put it up on a website and you go all out asking for money. It's very simple. With crowdfunding and with this democratization of philanthropy, obviously came a lot of types of crowdfunding, which is what we're going to see right now. There was something called equity crowdfunding. I have a business, I need 10 lakhs to survive the whole year, or I need 20 lakhs to survive in 2 years. And I want to pay for my salary, I want to pay for the operations in the business. So typically what happens, I find angel investors, I go after people who have a lot of money who can give me 20 lakh rupees, and in return I can give them some equity, maybe 5 or 10% or 20% of my business. And so how did, this was obviously already a norm. How crowdfunding got into this was that a platform was created for you to put up your business plan, and a lot of angel investors can actually see your business plan, as opposed to you finding them out individually, sending them emails in a very old-fashioned way. This was equity crowdfunding, where you need money for your business and in return you give equity back to the people. The second and the most successful as well as the most popular type of crowdfunding is rewards-based crowdfunding. This is not for businesses, this is for projects. Say you have a project the meaning of a project is that it has a time-bound outcome. You have a film, it will be made in 6 months. You have a music album, it will be made in another 6 months. But because it's not a business, neither does it have any return on your investment. What will you give to the person that is funding your music? At the same time, it is not something that can qualify as typical charity, where you just say, just donate for a good cause. This is not a cause. This is your project. This is your individual project. So what do you give back to the person, right? So the land of innovation, US, came up with something called rewards-based crowdfunding, where, say if I'm making a film on a topic that is related to women liberation, right? I know for a fact that a lot of women will associate with this kind of a topic, and if they see that I am a credible filmmaker, I've made some movies in the past, I've got my team together, I have the script ready, I have the entire vision ready of how exactly I'm going to portray this kind of a film, all I have to do is put up my campaign of this project on a particular website, and then I go after the people who will connect with my movie. So not everyone is going to fund in rewards-based crowdfunding. Only fans or people who connect with your idea is going to fund your campaign. And how do you find them? Social media, the gold mine, Facebook communities, Facebook groups that have been mushrooming all over the country, where people who like food are together on a community platform, people who like certain types of political topics are together on one platform. You go to them and you say, okay, here is my project and here is what I want to raise money for. Now what do you give back to a person who really likes your cause, likes your project? You will say, fine, if you give me 2,000 rupees, I'm going to let you come to the set and see the whole shooting process. So a budding filmmaker who wants to understand how this entire process works can actually go and see an entire shooting on his own. If, say, you're giving me 5,000 bucks, I'm going to do a premiere of the show at a nice PVR, I'm going to call all the stars and I'm going to call all the big people, and you're going to be the VIP invite to it. So these are kind of interesting things that you give back which have no meaning. This is not the reason why a person will give you, this is just something that will sweeten the deal. The next is debt-based, where you want to take the money but you think you will be able to return it back with interest. And there's obviously the charity-based funding, where there's nothing to give back except for probably some income tax receipts, and people can fund for the good of the cause. So these are the 4 types of crowdfunding that have emerged, and there are different types of platforms that cater to different types of crowdfunding. So if you have a project, you have to choose which platform your project fits best in. I'm going to talk a little bit more about, in this talk, about rewards-based crowdfunding. One, it is the most popular form of crowdfunding, as I just told you, because it's very quick and easy, right? I mean, there is nothing that I have to wait for. You put your project on a platform and then you go out and you talk about your project. And if a person likes it, they can fund immediately by pressing a contribute button because the website is taking care of your payment collection. So this is the quickest form, and in return, all you have to do is all these interesting things that you can give back to the person. Now, the most important part is how it is done. While it is the most popular type of crowdfunding, the one thing that it's dealing with is that it is kind of going outside the norm of philanthropy. As I said, it's not a social cause. So how do you convince a person to fund your music album? How do you convince anybody to fund an art installation that you're thinking about? Anything that you want to, if you say want to paint the entire metro station, how do you get people to fund you, right? So, and the other thing that comes with it is, when we started doing crowdfunding in India, we thought people might not give, but what we in turn figured out was that the problem is not giving in India, the problem is asking. By asking, we feel we have just sold a part of our power to this another person that we're asking help from, which is absolute crap. So these are some of the challenges that we were facing, that the campaigners were facing. So we thought that there is a particular way of raising funds when it comes to these non-social causes. So let's talk about the 4 things that you need to run a successful crowdfunding campaign. The first thing that you need is balls. You are not going to be able to raise money if you think that you can just put up a campaign, or you can just put one post on Facebook and you will think that, oh, the money is going to pour in. If you think you cannot talk even to your first 10 friends about your project to ask them to just chip in $100, you're not going to raise money. The whole point about crowdfunding is that it will knock your innermost confidence out of you. It will make you do things because you're on a time limit that you can raise money in. And if you don't have the shamelessness to ask for funds for your dream project, no one is going to help you. The next bit is a pitch video. Now, it's a fun process, right? Crowdfunding is a very fun process. You go all out, you talk about the passion that you want to create. So nobody wants to see a business plan over here because there is no business. Nobody wants to see a long, boring email. What they want to see is, in 2 minutes, what will you say which is interesting enough for them to open their pockets, right? So a pitch video is the newest form of communication, a video. And if you can really crack something like this, then there will be no problem. The next bit is rewards. If you think that you can throw in some t-shirts and some badges and some these kind of merchandise to attract people to get money, that's not what people are giving money for. So you have to give something that money cannot buy. People cannot buy your time just like that. People cannot buy an invitation to having dinner with your film's cast, right? So these are the things that you throw in, and that is how you will be able to come up with a good rewards list. And the last bit is your promotion. Let me spend a little bit time over here. All of you use Facebook and Twitter and all sorts of other new Snapchats of the world only for fun, right? No one has actually been able to really use Facebook and Twitter or social media in general for their work. If you are smart enough, you will realize that Facebook, Twitter, all of these things are no more for chatting, no more for just gloating about what you're doing in a day, no more just about just getting some kind of just attracting people about your entire behaviors that you portray on Facebook through your pictures and stuff like that. If you're smart enough, you will realize that people are using Facebook to get audience. If you don't have audience today, which can be your potential customers, your project is going to fail. And social media is a great place where you can get a lot of audience. If you're not able to use it for the purpose of your projects in the nice way, then there are very less chances for you to spread the word. And I've been in a business for 2 years, and one thing I can say for sure is that no amount of marketing spend will help you grow your any project that you're doing, but word of mouth. And word of mouth can only come from a place where there are a lot of people together and talking about you, sharing what you're talking about. So you have to really, really spend time in thinking, how do I promote my project? Now, this is a part where I want to sort of break certain myths, which is the crowd is actually nicer than you think it is. All of us, when crowdfunding started, everybody thought, and I was told by myself when I was leaving my nicely paid job in McKinsey to, leave and do this. My parents were like, who were both engineers, by the way, that why are you doing this? No one gives in India. Indians are stingy, they don't care. Philanthropy is something for the US. Nobody has money. So, I mean, obviously, there are people who will ask a lot of questions before going into entrepreneurship. I'm not that type. I will just go and figure it out for myself. And if it doesn't work, the job, you can always get back to a job. It's as simple as that. So let's look at why some people gave money to some projects on Wishberry as an example. Vasudha Sharma, a great budding musician. If you guys are from, I don't know which generation is this room in, but if you guys heard about Viva and the second batch of Asma that came, she was one of the chosen musicians, and then now she makes her own independent music. So she went all out and she raised about 5,65,000. Her earlier target was 5 lakhs to make her music album from about 118 funders. All of these funders were fans on Facebook who really wanted to fund Vasudha's album, and she gave rewards like, if you give me 5,000 bucks, you can come and jam with me in my jam room, and I'm going to post it up on YouTube. So for a budding singer, it was a great launch pad, so they can give 5,000 bucks. And we asked some of these people, why did you give, right? Because we are always corroborating and understanding the psychology of giving, which is, I gave because she deserved a shot. It's as simple as that. Now, this is something which is unfathomable to us, right? That we will never think that the other person is willing to give us a shot. And crowdfunding is clearly proving that. This was a landmark success of Wishberry. There was I don't know how many of you are aware, but there was a comic book on menstruation. There were 2 NID grads who felt that girls are not being taught about menstruation the way they should. They're all riddled with myths. Don't eat this, don't do that when they are going through their periods. So what should they do? And they did not want to impart information in a more boring way. So they said, okay, let's make a comic book out of it. And they ended up raising some 5,16,000 from 175 funders. 40% men gave money from all corners of India and abroad. And if you can see what this guy has said, I have 2 sisters and hence found a personal connection to the larger problem addressed by the comic. So in our heads, comic was a very frivolous thing, but the cause was very interesting, and it got a lot of people attracted towards giving funds for this kind of a project. Menstrupedia went on to become Forbes 30 under 30, these 2 people, as well as now they're shipping out of India to South America and even Africa, their batch of comic books. So why should you do crowdfunding, right? Crowdfunding is basically subverting a lot of things. Typically what happens is that if you have an idea in mind, you put your own money, and then you probably do a lot of promotions, and then you sell your project, hoping to get that it sells so that you can recover revenue, right? This is your typical financial process of investing and taking back the investment. With crowdfunding, things are getting a little subverted. What people are doing is that, say I have an interesting idea for a solar-powered mobile charger. Now, I can go to the regular route of doing this, but what I will in fact do is I'll just make a prototype. I'll show it to you in a pitch video, and I'll say, now, if you want me to make it, then you fund me, okay? And I will give you back the first piece that I ever manufacture. So you have an exclusive right over the product that you're helping fund, okay? Now, say you're not able to raise the target that you want because you have a minimum production value. You want to, your vendor is only going to take an order of minimum 1,000 bucks. So if you're not able to raise money, the money simply goes back to the people, and you know that your idea was not that interesting probably for people, right? So what you do is, without spending a penny or time and energy into finding investment and only to find out that it was a flop idea, you just simply show a prototype and get people to fund you in advance. This is something called pre-selling, which is also originating from the whole crowdfunding system. For musicians and filmmakers, they always hope that, you know, their films will be sold and they will go on PVR and people will buy music. People are not buying music, people are not buying films, they're simply wanting to watch it for free. So what do musicians do with crowdfunding now? You've listened to me, I play well, if you want me to make music for you, you pay me in advance. This is what is crowdfunding doing. And the global people in the US, the big musicians are realizing that they're saying it is the only way to do business now in areas where there is no return on investment. So very quickly, crowdfunding is not just about the money. It gives you validation if you have an interesting idea in mind. In advance, you get to know from people whether this is something that you should go ahead and dedicate your 2 or 3 years of your life. You can pre-sell before even getting into manufacturing, and you don't have to dilute anything. There is no equity or anything that you have to give back to people, and you obviously have full control. No producer is going to ask you to put an item number in the film just so that it sells. So has it worked in India? Let's look at some numbers. Let's see if something as subversive and something as crazy as this has worked in India or not. I'll give you the example of Wishberryin because I have the Wishberry stats with me. Wishberry is able to, over 200 projects have been able to raise over 3.5 crores from 8,000 plus people across the world. That has basically been the impact of crowdfunding in India in just 2 years. So 200 projects, and all these projects for films, music, comic books, games, art installations, anything in the creative sector, design, was something that 8,000 people actually funded. And when we ask them, the reason is very simple. Crowdfunding is very accountable, crowdfunding is very transparent, and I can see things actually happening. Charity is also giving money to a poor kid in Africa, but I will never be able to see that kid in Africa, and I don't know how the money is actually being transferred and going through which route. But here, charity for me is giving money to make sure someone's dream come true. And I can see that person in flesh and blood in front of me, give the money to him directly and see his actual output come to life in the next 6 months to a year. So that is also charity. That is also philanthropy 2.0 according to what we've just seen. Thank you.